stop!
Both brothers and Castiel have very much been dealing with consequences of events set in motion at the end of last year.
Angels aren't our problem right now, okay? Or demons, or Metatron, or whatever the hell happened to Cass.
They were essentially selfish. They were selfish in a way that I think is very understandable and incredibly sympathetic.
I'm willing to let this bastard and all the sons of bitches that killed Mom walk because of you.
Season 9, we've probably dealt with how each of the brothers actually feels about that.
I was ready to die, Dean.
I know.
Do you sacrifice for the greater good, or is the family the most important thing?
What would you do to fight for the ones you love? How far would you go?
You deserve to be loved. I deserve to be loved!
Usually in Supernatural with these things don't work out perfectly for us.
People in your general vicinity don't have much in the way of a lifespan.
That's the Winchester curse, really.
Look at him. Look how close we are. Other people will die if I don't finish this. Just let it go. I can't. Come on.
At the end of season 8, you had Sam and Dean come to a place they've come to many times before, which is like, we can save the world, but one of us has to die. And what made this version different was that they actually decided to choose each other. That one choice really spiraled out for us in a very nice way out into the entire season.
Well, we always knew that there would be a consequence to starting the trial and not finishing it. So there would be this sort of hanging chad of humanity that would be ghosting its way through the season.
This season, it's an overriding theme about what's right and what's wrong when it comes to sort of tempting fate or changing the course of things.
I cannot promise, but there is a chance I can fix your brother from the inside. From the inside? So what, you gonna open him up?
Well, the first thing when Sam was dying, Dean basically had to put his trust in an angel he did not know, and has been living with the consequences of that going sour for essentially the entire season 9.
You know, his heart's in the right place. You know, he loves his brother, but you know, it's a selfish decision.
Sam can eject me at any time, especially with me so weak. And if Sam does eject me, he will die.
Dean's always been kind of an act first, think later kind of a guy. Not really thinking out, you know, what that would do or how that would play out or what that would mean for Sam or, you know, and he sometimes in acting first and thinking later, you know, finds himself in a sticky situation.
It's a decision that comes from, you know, I think a bit of a place of fear, but also it comes from the baggage that he has from the really traumatic, you know, life that he has, and very specifically the traumatic childhood, you know, he has.
You know, I think we have two different viewpoints here. We have, you know, Dean who will do anything to save his brother. And I think Sam is starting to question, are we sacrificing the greater good to keep ourselves alive?
So, again, you thought I couldn't handle something, so you took over.
No, I did what I had to do. You would have never agreed to it, and you would have died.
Well, maybe I would have liked the choice at least.
Sam, you know, is angry that Dean saves him, you know, is angry, you know, that he won't let him go.
Sam does, in his heart of hearts, feel like he's almost cursed. He almost does feel like my mom dies because of me. Now, every time we try to do something, I try to stop the apocalypse and kill Lilith and actually start it. And I try and close the gate, and then this happens. It's like, look, are we blind? Let's be honest about this. Are we blind in our kind of commitment to each other and helping each other and saving each other's lives? Are we causing more harm than good?
No! No! Kevin!
I think one of the great things about our show is that nobody's safe. Kevin was a real innocent in this. He didn't ask for this. He didn't become a hunter. He didn't do anything like that. He was picked, he was a prophet of the Lord. And so I think there was especially for Dean, real trouble with this, because he felt like this was a kid and his mom did not deserve this, and I should have been there to protect him.
It's a big struggle this season for Dean. It's not just the decisions he made against Sam's will regarding Sam, but it's also all the fallout and the fodder and the collateral damage that's occurred because of that. And Kevin losing his life is obviously one of the biggest ones. So it's, you know, he's having a big struggle, and I think it helps. The only thing that he can think of to do is to focus on the mission at hand and get it done, no matter what the price.
Kevin's blood is on my hands, and that ain't ever getting clean. I'll burn for that. I will. But I'll find Gadriel, and I will end that son of a bitch. But I'll do it alone.
I'm not gonna stop you.
I think Sam obviously loves his brother, but he kind of sees that his brother is in it for a different reason. Sam's struggle is not with, don't fight for me and I'm not gonna fight for you. His struggle is almost, it's very plain and simple fact. If he had let himself cure a demon, he'd have closed hell. So he still struggles with that every day, and he's like, and I kind of got tricked out of it by family. And then an angel was in me, and the angel's bad, and we kill Kevin. Like, how are we so blind by the end result of what we're doing? We're saving lives in the process, but if you'd just let me die last year and cure Crowley, it would have killed me, but it would have finished the spell.
That's a big struggle that the brothers have been having recently, and it's a big struggle for Dean because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand why Sam wouldn't want to survive and wouldn't want to continue on.
You want to be honest? If the situation were reversed and I was dying, you'd do the same thing?
No, I wouldn't.
What are you doing here?
Gee, it's nice to see you too, Cass.
It's Steve now, and yeah, you surprised me.
Well, the feeling is mutual. I mean, I knew you had to lay low from the angel threat, but wow, this is some cover.
Cass, really his formative event, or the event we've been playing with him for the most part, actually goes all the way back to Season 7. Season 7, he gets possessed by the crazy Leviathan power, suddenly he has the power of God, and, I mean, you could argue he misuses it, you know what I mean? Certainly when it comes to angels, anybody that doesn't agree with him, he kills. So Cass, at his core, is like, that was my biggest failing, I caused all this, I need to, you know, get it back together, and that drive made him blind to Metatron's true purposes.
Until their last breath, they will seek revenge on the angel that did this, who destroyed heaven.
Stop. I think he's caused a lot of pain for all of the angels, and he's caused a lot of suffering on Earth, and he wants to rectify things, but he also doesn't want to take the reins and become a leader in order to do so.
And it really kind of thrust Castiel into a bit of his own sort of like Hamlet-like story, where he's kind of forced to make a decision throughout the course of Season 9, while he's also battling with his own burgeoning humanity.
Butchering angels. Is this what we've become?
Just following your example, Castiel.
And I think that him becoming human has given him empathy. He knows what it means to actually feel a human emotion. That profoundly affects his relationship with the boys.
And what's happened to Cass this year in this whole business with Metatron, he's lost some of his naivete. I think he doesn't see things quite as black and white. For him, the good guys versus the bad guys was always sort of clear before. I think he gets into shades of gray. Who's who? What are they doing? Who do I trust? Who do I don't trust?
Both Cass and Crowley have been dealing with what it means to be human. Castiel has always loved humans, you know? And what better way to understand them than becoming one for a while?
Hello, boys.
Here's the deal. You're gonna tell us how to hack an angel, and I'm gonna give you some of the good stuff. Human blood, fresh from the tap. Word is you jonesing for it.
Crowley, he didn't choose to be addicted. Like, you know, he was captured by the boys and was, you know, put through part of that trial. But I think, you know, the true genius of Crowley is that he's like the best improviser. So I don't think he started off as an addict, you know, like, oh, I'll get addicted to blood and therefore allow me to do this thing. But once he was, you know, victimized by it, he took that and was like, okay, how do I use this to my advantage?
We look at this as a benevolent, malevolent character. And I think that's what makes the character so special, is that you're never quite sure what the reason is, why he's doing what he's doing. But it's always Crowley-centric.
At the end of the day, he still has a hate-on for Abaddon, no matter, what condition he's in.
I'm here to see if there's anything in the John Winchester Memorial Library that might lead us to the First Blade, to killing Abaddon.
You want to hunt? With me?
I do love a good buddy comedy.
One of the smartest decisions that he makes this season is he needs to get a player off the board, and that's Abaddon, and he knows that he can't kill her. And so he very smartly manipulates Dean into a situation where he has to get the First Blade.
We need to leave here now.
What, are you allergic to bees?
It's not a beekeeper. It's Kane.
I enjoy the fact that it's not always quite as cut and dried as it appears to be. And that, I could look as though I'm suffering the ravages of this or that or whatever, and you could find out that it's actually not entirely true.
Why are you here, Dean?
We're looking for the weapon the Archangels used to kill the Knights of Hell. The First Blade.
Dean's major driving force in the second half of the season is the blade. He wants the blade, he wants to use the blade. Again, I don't know if you want to draw the metaphor to addiction, but he certainly he's drawn to it. And again, because that's what he wants, he's willing to make certain side deals that don't totally go against his character in terms of he's not going to sell out everything that he is, but probably take him into a little bit of a morally gray area, let's say.
Let's dance.
When Dean takes on the Mark of Cain, he's in a pretty low place. So when he comes across the Mark of Cain, he is seeing it as a means to an end. If it's something that's going to make him more powerful in that he can kill their enemies, namely Abaddon.
Dean choosing to do this and going after the blade, even when he knows it's making him feel not well or, sick or makes him feel too good, and that can't be good either, he still seeks it out because he's so motivated, A, to kill Abaddon, which is what it's for, but B, probably kills Metatron too, you know what I mean? Suddenly this fixes all of his problems, not realizing that as he's using it, he's creating an even bigger problem, which is essentially losing himself.
I think it's a very interesting issue. I think the writers have done a fantastic job of playing the moral ambiguity.
Dean.
But then to parallel with Crowley's addiction to human blood, to the Mark of Cain, to the killing with the blade, that's the parallel. And it takes an addict to know an addict. You're jonesing for it, you're jonesing for it. And he's constantly goading him because he needs Dean to kill Abaddon.
I think it touches on what I said earlier about Sam admires Dean's commitment and his loyalty and his passion, but he gets worried sometimes about how far Dean is willing to take it.
Dean! Stop! Stop!
It's so difficult for him to do what he's doing, and he can't stop. And Sam, I love the fact that Sam is screaming, stop. And he has no control. Dean has no control over it.
Obviously, Sam is concerned with the distance that he'll go to get the job done, and Dean is really kind of focused on the prize, no matter what the cost. And that can lead to some mistakes and some slip-ups.
What have you done? It's a means to an end.
Damn it, Dean.
Well, I think once Dean has gotten the Mark of Cain, that really troubles Castiel. He knows all too well what that means. I think the roles are a little reversed this year. I think Cass worries more about Dean and worries about the decisions that Dean has made.
He has such a strong bond with the Winchesters and has really, I think, a combination of that bond and his own brush with humanity has really kind of allowed him to see that maybe there's a bigger family here to be had than the family that he was, kind of born into, if you will.
I was sure everyone here was loyal. Finally united by a common cause.
Well, that's the problem. So you don't think anybody's lying. I think everybody's lying.
In the past, Cass, while always, right-minded, has made decisions that have backfired on him. He does things for the greater good without, without seeing the downside of it or a possible downside.
And again, that's sort of a different move from him before. He's less, he's actually worried about the consequences of his actions. He's actually realizing that every decision he makes actually has repercussions, moving forward for himself, for his brothers and sisters, his fellow angels.
Let me help you. Let us help you.
You are safer away from me.
And I really love the journey that he's been on this season, in particular the last little run of episodes, from episode 18 on, where he's really has to kind of take on the role of leader. But I think because of the fact that he has had this sort of brush with humanity, with true humanity, not experiencing it as an outsider, but experiencing it as a person, as an entity, it's really kind of changed his point of view, and it's really informed the way he views himself as a leader now.
I'm gonna take my shot. For better or worse. No matter the consequences. I know.
I think some of the decisions that Dean makes in the last run of episodes basically involve cutting Sam out whenever it comes to the blade and killing.
I know where Metatron is. I know the bombers. They were his agents, not yours. At least give me a chance.
I feel like a lot of times in the earlier seasons, when Sam and Dean did have a chasm, oftentimes it was Sam, like Sam and Ruby going off on his own and Dean kind of speaking the truth. And so now Sam is like, you taught me to not go crazy like this, and now you're doing it, and I've been there, and I know how messed up I was, so I'm not gonna let you get messed up.
Drop the blade, Dean! Move. Dean, Sam, look at me, move!
When it comes time to kill Metatron, Dean again sidelines Sam on purpose. Even though Sam has essentially pledged to walk into the fight with him.
He's kind of sacrificing himself a bit, and in a way it's selfless, and in a way it's selfish. So he's kind of riding that line.
Welcome to the club.
And the parallels are exact. The parallels are exact for Crowley. The parallels are, he keeps saying, I can do this anytime I want. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Dean, I can do it anytime I want. I'm fine, I'm fine. And we're left at the end of a season with the consequences of those decisions.
Well played, Castiel.
At the end of the season, Castiel is in heaven. His grace is in danger of burning out, which will mean he will die, as opposed to turning human.
You draped yourself in the flag of heaven, but ultimately, it was all about saving one human, right?
And that's where we leave him. So Castiel is a bit in flux by the end of the year, as is Sam.
I think the biggest consequence is what happens with Dean at the end of the season. That's, I think, the thing I'm most excited about the end of the season, but also moving into season 10 as well, is to take that character into a place that we haven't seen him before.
It's better this way. What? The mark. It's making me into something I don't want to be.
I mean, I read it and I was just like, oh yeah, that's just so right. And you can never be sure how much of of the story that Crowley's aware of. Open your eyes, Dean. See what I see. Feel what I feel. Let's go take a howl at that moon.